Straight out of Star Wars Celebration, we just got our first look at Andor, the Disney Plus series following the earlier adventures of the rebel spy who first and last appeared in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. We're going to break down the trailer shot by shot to see what we can learn about Andor's involvement in the formation of the Rebel Alliance under threat of the Empire's might. It's time for Rewind Theater. The trailer starts off with what the subtitles refer to as a time grappler doing the Star Wars version of Big Ben. The patina on that metal makes it look an awful lot like Beskar, so that bell is probably worth a Mandalorian's ransom. Next, we see a group of children hanging out in the forest who are terrified as they watch a fiery ship crashing toward the planet's surface. It's hard to make out what kind of a ship it is, but it looks more like a transport or a freighter than a proper warship. The engines in the back look a little bit like a Corellian Corvette, kind of like the Tandem 4 in the opening scene of A New Hope. We can see this red droid rolling through a scrapyard. The scrapyard planet of Bracca is a recent addition to Star Wars lore, first appearing in the video game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and recently revisited in the Bad Batch animated series. So it's possible this is our first look at the location in live-action form, and of course it's also possible this is an all-new junkyard planet. There is a lot of junk in Star Wars. We see workers toiling away in a lab of some sort. It's immaculately clean, a quality we'll see associated with the Empire, as opposed to the ragtag, rough-around-the-edges rebels. So, safe bet, this lab is an Imperial operation. Could this be where the Empire first began work on the Death Star? Or perhaps some other, never-before-seen superweapon? It's worth pointing out that these uniforms are different from the ones worn by Galen Erso and other Imperial scientists in Rogue One. A character named Salman Pak rushes his people to cover up their weapons and hide as militant forces approach. This series is going to show how various planets and people became involved with the rebellion, so these are probably early members of the uprising. 3 Clone Wars-era Republic gunships, or maybe an updated model, are seen flying towards the scrapyard. Andor takes place over a decade after the Clone Wars ended, and tech from that era has likely been phased out and replaced with what we see in the original trilogy. That said, maybe these are some of the Empire's last active Clone Wars gunships, or maybe they were decommissioned and have since been repurposed by rebels. Here's what appears to be the local police force that doesn't seem to be Imperial, arriving at a woman's home, an important character who we're going to meet later on. Does anybody recognize that chest insignia? And here's our first look at the titular hero Cassian Andor, who we're catching up with 5 years before the events of Rogue One. At the Star Wars Celebration panel where this trailer was revealed, actor Diego Luna said his character is a very different man at this point, one who is selfish and is in desperate need of the awakening that eventually comes in Rogue One. Also, Luna has said in interviews that the series shows how his home planet became radicalized by the Empire, showing that not all systems were taken by force and some joined the Empire willingly. As we learned in Rogue One, he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old, and if that doesn't make you a bitter soldier bent on bringing down the Empire, then nothing will. And here we see a sterile room where Imperial officers are having a meeting. This seems to be the same impossibly white setting as before, so if our theory is correct, these officers are holding the first meetings about developing the Empire's planet-destroying superweapon. We get a quick shot of an Imperial officer flanked by 2 Death Troopers, the same elite troopers who served under Director Krennic in Rogue One. She seems to be investigating a certain rebel who we'll meet next. And here she is, the future founder of the Rebel Alliance, Mon Mothma. She's once again played by Genevieve O'Reilly, the same actress who portrayed her in Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, and voiced her in Rebels. We see her on the city planet of Coruscant, the capital of the galaxy, where she attempts to covertly use her political power to form the Rebel Alliance, but as she says in the trailer, the Imperials suspect her and are watching her closely. This is Luthen, played by Stellan Skarsgård. It was teased at Celebration that he plays a rebel leader who's going to play a major part in the show. He says in the trailer, soon enough these days will end, presumably signaling that he's ready to bring about the end of the Empire. He appears to be scoping out that scrapyard we saw earlier, making us wonder what its importance is. Maybe the Empire is recycling scrap metal to build their super weapons, or maybe a junkyard would just make a good rebel hideout. Here we see what appear to be several Imperial prisons in a massive body of water. And inside, prisoners are seen filing from place to place. If the Empire wanted to develop the Death Star in secret, doing it underwater with an imprisoned workforce is definitely one way to go about it. This officer seems to be hunting down Andor. We're sensing a recurring theme here. This appears to be Mon Mothma addressing the Galactic Senate. We'll be witnessing the final days of this governing body in Andor, as Emperor Palpatine dissolves the Senate just before the Battle of Yavin in A New Hope, and from the looks of things, there seem to be quite a few empty Senate pods already. A man raises a weapon at a group of what appear to be clone troopers. Either this is a flashback to the Clone Wars era, or there are still some clones kicking around when Andor takes place. What would a Star Wars spy and espionage show be without Andor hijacking a TIE fighter? Hopefully the cool TIE fighter stuff actually makes it into the show this time around, unlike that TIE fighter shot in the Rogue One trailer. Finally, the trailer ends with a new character, Marva, played by Killing Eve's Fiona Shaw, telling the officers who entered her home about the rising resistance. Shaw's character was a spy master on Killing Eve, so it wouldn't surprise us if she has a similar role on this show. Then again, she also played Mrs. Dursley in Harry Potter, so maybe she's Cassian's mean aunt. In all seriousness though, make no mistake about it, Andor is a full-on spy show that's bound to be packed with political intrigue. And if showrunner Tony Gilroy's previous work on the Bourne trilogy and Michael Clayton are anything to go on, we're in for a fun ride. Anyway, that's everything we were able to learn from this first trailer for Andor. Many Bothans died to bring us this information. Did those Bothans miss anything that jumped out at you? Let us know what you spotted in the comments below, and keep an eye out for more videos from Star Wars Celebration, plus our coverage of the Kenobi premiere. For everything else from a galaxy far, far away, be sure to subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.
That's what a reckoning sounds like.